Hey, welcome back to the channel. A few weeks ago, my buddy Tyler had posted on Facebook a record I had been looking for, and I thought to myself, yeah, I better get to looking for it and get more serious about it. So I just happened to go online, and sure enough, 45 minutes away from a closing auction on eBay, a record called Voice of Chunk by the Lounge Lizards. I got the record in the mail. We'll open it, and we'll talk a little bit about the band. I can't tell you exactly when I first heard about them, but I can tell you it was sometime when I was in high school. This flyer from 1986, from January 24th, is probably the first time I actually got a pretty good grip of who they were. I was not familiar with their music, but they were on my radar and I was certain to find out more about them. The first album came out about 1981 and it's self-titled. They were considered a post-punk band that played fake jazz. Now, was it really fake jazz? Was it really jazz? It was jazz, but it was very angular and very punk-minded. They followed that up with Live at the Drunken Boat and this record with Teo Macero, Fusion. Then came the album that really knocked me out, Big Heart Live in Japan. For me, this is where they really solidified their sound and kind of became the band that I grew to love. Then came their last major label album, No Pain for Cakes. Then came this. This is the album most people would say is their best. Certainly, it's the popular decision. It's called Voice of Chunk. And it was only released on the States on CD, and you had to buy it through a telephone line, mail order, kind of late night infomercial.
Hello, I'm John Lurie, and I want you to know now you can listen to the very strange and the very beautiful music of the Lounge Lizards here in America, just like people in other lands.
To order your new Lounge Lizards record, call 1-800-44-CHUNK. Not available in stores. For CD or cassette, call 1-800-44-CHUNK.
Hello?
It's kind of crazy how, self-released. John Lurie was tired of working with the major labels, and he decided to go out on his own. So the record came out on CD in the States, but it came out on vinyl in Spain, Germany, and maybe Italy. This is a German pressing of it, and I'm very excited to get it. I have the CD since it came out. It is a great one. If John looks familiar to you, it's probably because you've seen him star in movies like Stranger Than Paradise or Down by Law. He's also done the soundtrack to Get Shorty. He's been in TV shows like Oz, where he had a recurring role, as well as the movies Wild at Heart and Last Temptation of Christ, and I think he had a bit part in the movie Paris, Texas, too. The Lounge Lizards were a staple of the New York scene, and a club that I worked at, the Knitting Factory, they were often known for playing these huge runs. So I have this poster here, which you can take a better look at, where they played 10 shows over 5 nights, as well as this other canceled run of 12 shows that they were going to do in November 1999. Most people know John's music without even realizing it. He had written the theme song to Late Night with Conan O'Brien. The story that I heard, and I don't know if it's true, but I assume it's mostly true, is that the Lounge Lizards, John had put together this super version of the Lounge Lizards, and they had auditioned in this kind of private battle of the bands to see who would get the job. Well, at the end of the competition, it was between the Lounge Lizards and Max Weinberg. The Lounge Lizards were the better band, but Max Weinberg had the bigger draw. And at the end of the day, we know it went to Max Weinberg. But John had copywritten the theme song and just kind of moved on, forgot about it, whatever, another day, another lost gig, no big deal. But half a year or so later, he turns on the TV and says, oh yeah, that show's coming up that I auditioned for, let's watch it, see if it was any good. So he turns it on, watches it, and the theme song comes on, and he realizes that sounds pretty familiar. Well, wait a second, I wrote that. Well, all kinds of legal chaos ensued apparently, and he got copyright, he got authorship of the song, and that song stayed on the air for years. And at its peak, it ran 4 times a night. The 11:30 slot, and when they would rerun it again at 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning, which is not a bad gig to have your song played on network TV 4 times a night. John eventually pulled himself out of music. He suffered from chronic Lyme disease, and he stopped making a lot of music and started painting. But some of the things that he has done, which are quite notable, he made these 2 albums under a fake name, Marvin Pontiac, where he plays this Jewish blues singer. They're pretty entertaining albums, and they're out of print now, but they're worth finding. He also did a TV show called Fishing with John, which there were 5 episodes, one with Matt Dillon, one with Dennis Hopper, one with Willem Dafoe, one with Jim Jarmusch, and I don't remember the other one, but they were fishing. They would go on fishing exhibitions to exotic locations. He's then gone on to do a show more recently called Painting with John. So, looking at the record, it looks pretty clean under the light. Let's check it out and see how it sounds. Well, thanks for checking that out with me. I can tell you that they are really one of the best live bands I've ever seen. I've seen them about 4, 5, 6 times. A couple of times at the Knitting Factory. Seen them in Central Park. I can tell you, front to back, top to bottom, they are one of the best bands. Really, one of the best. And yeah, what can I say? I'm really happy to have this in my collection. And if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.